I sent some to Lars, who's been looking at it, and maybe he'd like to say a few words about his preliminary findings.
I have been studying some of the hairs that Richard brought back from Sumatra, and they are, I can understand that the guy from New York couldn't really get any DNA out of them because they're in a rather poor condition, but what we have been able to ascertain is that the hairs of these creatures and the little DNA we've been able to study so far does bear some resemblance to orangutans. Whether they actually are orangutans or a new species of orangutan or a new species of primate altogether, I can't say that as of yet, but they have some resemblance to orangutans.
We sent you the hairs back in beginning of October, I think.
Yeah.
What happened then? Can you just give us an idea of the time frame of how this worked?
The first thing that happened with those hairs was that I did a structural analysis of them, looked at the structure of the hair, the scales in the hair, the pigmentation, how it was divided in the hair. Just like you would look at on any other organism. How big is it? What does it look like? And all that kind of stuff. And I could see from those hairs that they were primate hairs and looked very much like orangutan hair. They were in a rather poor condition, so I couldn't be completely certain. And so when I had finished that, I gave them on to DNA analysis to see whether it would be possible to extract DNA and enough DNA to be able to make a positive identification. Unfortunately, so far we haven't been able to do that, but what results we do have points to the same fact that it seems to be an orangutan or an orangutan-like animal. I can't say for certain that it is an orangutan or that it isn't, but it looks like orangutan.
What's the significance of this?
Well, the significance is quite enormous, no matter what the result is, basically, because if it turns out to be orangutan, this proves that there is orangutans in a part of Sumatra several hundred kilometers from the nearest population of orangutan. If it turns out to be a primate that looks like an orangutan but isn't, it's an even greater discovery, because that proves that there's another great ape living in Indonesia.
How many types of DNA tests have you run on it so far?
2 different kinds so far, and my DNA contact says that there are other tests that can be tried to get out some more results or get more definitive results, but that hasn't been done yet.
Can you tell me what are the 2 kinds that have been done so far?
There has been tried a traditional mitochondrial DNA test, and they had tried a nuclear DNA test. Those are the 2 basic kinds of DNA tests. You take out DNA material from the nucleus of a cell, or you take them from the mitochondria, which are the energy producing structures in a cell, and they have a strand of DNA as well. And there's various things that makes it easier or to extract this, and one result from one can usually corroborate the other one. But as I've said, the hair was not in a terribly good condition, so it's a bit difficult to get DNA strands long enough to be certain that this is whatever it is.
What's the test that's going to be done next?
I don't really know. My friends in the DNA circles have just told me that it's kind of a new forms of test that they're actually developing. So I don't really know. I'm not an expert in DNA testing.
So we've only got one more thing to try then?
Yeah, because I can't do anything else with it from the structural point of view, unless somebody brings me some hairs in a better condition. And the DNA people can only try this new form of testing that they are developing. And if that doesn't give any definitive results, we won't get it from this particular hair sample.
Do you know, going back to the structural analysis, is the structure of a Bornean orangutan hair and a Sumatran orangutan hair markedly different?
There's not a great difference, but there is a difference. So it is possible to separate the two just by looking at the hairs.
But can you tell, just looking at the structural analysis, which type of orangutan is this close? Does it resemble most, Sumatran or Bornean?
I need to do a bit more comparison between the hairs and the various orangutan samples that I have before I can be able to say it with any kind of certainty. But still, the hairs are in a rather poor condition. They've been out in the humid tropical jungle for too long. They've started to degrade, so they haven't got as many structural details that would be ideal for this. But I think I will be able to, within some time, to say whether it looks more like the Sumatran or the Bornean, but it's going to take some time.
The Sumatran orangutan is considerably rarer, isn't it?
Yeah.
And so, even at the least, if this proves there is a population of Sumatran orangutans where we didn't know there were before, this actually has a great significance for the survival. This would have a great significance for the survival of the species.
Oh yes, it would, definitely.
Are you taking another hair?
Yeah, I'm trying one of the other orangpendic hairs.
Ikke for hurtigt. Vi er næsten klar.
No, that's not that one. That one. We'll try this very long one and see what that is. You can actually also see this kind of, strange.
Can you hold that against the white compared to something?
Then you won't be able to. Then it will look black.
Yeah,
But you can see it's a white and have a little dark band and then a little bit white again.
Yeah.
You find that quite a lot in various primates. So this is probably one of the real stuff, so to speak. And you see this one won't sink either. So.
The fact that it floats, it's because it's covered in grease, and that's diagnostic of primate hair.
It's not 100% diagnostic because you find it in a few other animals, but it's a good indication of it is a primate, because we are not that good at washing our hair. Yeah, that's him again. The hair is just a bit darker, probably from further up the back, and it's thicker as well.
Now, because it's thicker and coarser, it's likely to be back. It's likely to be back hair.
Yeah.
And the other one, which is thinner and
Finer.
softer,
That's
is
further
probably
down towards it. Yeah,
of
side
the
or top. Yeah.
You can look at this. You can see.
And you can see. You can
so
see.
I'm using my glasses. Thing.
Yeah.
There's far less of a border than there is on the orangutan one. Maybe 20% less.
Yeah, something like
Considerably less.
And but you can still see these striations and gaps. Look something that looks like cracks in the hair.
Is that under real light or polarized light?
No, this is real light now. So this is the good stuff as well. So we'll try and see what happens if we do like this. And you can very clearly see this enormous amount of color in the hair and this very thin.
And the thin layer of grease on the outside. It's still much more. It's a much deeper color than you expect from orangutan.
Yeah. It's a very dyed.
I'm not calling you an ape, but an orangutan's hair would be more, it would be lighter, it would be nearer to yours. Than,
Yeah, probably something like that. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I'm not being personal there. And those little knobbly bits of plant matter.
Yeah, and any kind of impurity, dirt or whatever.
It's the fact that if you compare that with the orangutan, it's like an orangutan, but more so. This is what I would have if you'd asked me to describe what I would have thought a orangpendek hair would have looked like, I would have thought it would have looked like this. It's very seldom that you get something which sort of
And you can see
fulfills your expectations. So.
You can see it's been out in the jungle for too long. There's this is probably fungi that have started growing on it at some stage.
It's not in as good condition as the other one.
No. Well, it wouldn't be, since it's being a back hair, so they will be much more exposed to wind and sun and I don't know, but it's in a worse condition than the other one.
It's considerably worse.
Yeah, you can see it looks much more worn and torn and whatever, what have you.
Skyd Jonathan, så du ikke får de andre med.
Ja, det er godt.
Det er fantastisk, det han lige sagde. Det er helt vildt.
It's oddly beautiful, isn't it? If you had a painter do that an oil paint in oils, can you get any deeper in?
We'll see if...
I'm just saying, you know what I mean? It is really beautiful.
Hvis Max er med, hvis han bare er helt med.
Ja, jeg er helt inde i...
Okay.
Beautiful.
Well, you can actually see when I go in like this, you can see some of the structure on the surface of the collar. You're actually seeing through the cortex now and seeing the outer layers of the medulla. You can see all these cracks and things.
This is fantastic. That's amazing, man. Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you guys for doing all this work just so we can do this.